All right, let's just jump right in. If you're a French-speaking professional and you're dreaming of Canada, you're probably picturing a long, competitive wait. But what if I told you there's another way? A kind of secret pathway that lets you bypass all the crowds. Well, today, we're pulling back the curtain on a really unique program that does just that, the Francophone Community Immigration Pilot. So here's what really sets this program apart. You know, with big systems like Express Entry, it's so easy to feel like you're just a number floating in this huge, anonymous pool of candidates. But with the FCIP, the whole philosophy is different. It's not about being a statistic. It's about being a person, a future neighbor, someone who is literally welcomed by name.
It's honestly like Canada is rolling out the red carpet, but for a very specific group of people. And let's be clear, this isn't just about getting a visa or a piece of paper. It's about finding a real home. It's a personalized welcome mat laid out for French-speaking professionals who want to help build and grow communities all across Canada, outside of Quebec.
Okay, so what is this thing really? What's the Francophone Community Immigration Pilot, and what makes it such a potential game changer? Let's break it down, because it offers a direct line, not to a temporary stay, but to becoming a permanent resident of Canada.
Here's the official definition. But let me put it simply. The FCIP is all about bringing skilled French speakers to specific communities that need them. The goal is to make these smaller Francophone communities stronger. And you got to pay attention to those key words, streamlined path and permanent residence. This isn't a temporary gig. It's about putting down roots. Now this is super important, so listen up. You might have heard of another program called Francophone Mobility. That one's great. It gets you a temporary work permit. It's like getting the keys to the front porch. But the FCIP? That's the key to the whole house. It leads directly to permanent residency. You get to stay for good.
All right, so I bet you're thinking, okay, this sounds interesting, but could it actually be for me? Well, let's find out. There are basically 3 essential keys you need to unlock this pathway. So let's go through them like a checklist, and you can see if you are a potential fit.
First things first, and this won't be a surprise, right? The whole program is built around the French language. So, the first and most important key is, of course, your French. Is it good enough to open this door?
And get this might actually surprise you. The level you need isn't some crazy high expert fluency. You only need a minimum NCLC level of 5. That's a solid intermediate level. For a lot of people, that's way more achievable than the high scores needed for other programs, which really opens this pathway up. Okay, key number 1. French. Let's say you've got that covered. So what's key number 2? Well, it's all about location, location, location. And you have to be really specific here, because you can't just pick any city you want. So where exactly can you go? And here they are, the 6 chosen communities. And look at the variety. You've got the East Coast vibe of the Acadian Peninsula, a few spots in Ontario, one in Manitoba, and you can even go all the way to wine country in Kelowna, British Columbia. But here's the deal, and it's non-negotiable. You have to actually want to live and work in one of these places. Your whole application depends on it. Next up, the 3rd key, your professional background. It's pretty straightforward. You need at least 1 full year of continuous work experience sometime in the last 3 years. But there's a huge exception here, so listen closely if this applies to you. If you're an international student who just graduated from a 2-year program in one of these communities, you don't need the work experience at all. And finally, this is the piece that holds the whole application together. This isn't one of those programs where you land and then start looking for a job. No. You need a full-time, permanent job offer before you even apply. And it can't be from just any company. It has to be from an employer that the community has specifically approved for the pilot. So let's say you're ticking all the boxes. You're thinking, hey, I can do this. So what happens next? What does the journey actually look like? Let me lay out the roadmap for you. It's a pretty clear 5-step process. Step 1. Get your French officially tested. Prove you have that NCLC 5. Step 2. Start the job hunt, focusing only on those designated employers. Once you land that job offer, you move to Step 3, which is the magic step. You apply to the community itself and get their official recommendation. With that letter in hand, it's on to Step 4. You submit your big application for permanent residence to the federal government. And as a cool little bonus, there's an optional 5th step, where you can get a work permit to come to Canada and start your job while you wait for the PR to be finalized. All right, let's talk money and time, because those are always the big questions, right? For the main government fees, you're looking at a total of about 1,600 Canadian dollars, give or take, plus a small fee for biometrics. And how long do you have to wait? Well, once the federal government has your complete application, you can expect it to take somewhere between 12 and 16 months.
Okay, now I really need you to pay close attention to this next part. This is super important. This program is amazing, but there are some very specific rules and traps that people fall into all the time. So let's talk about how to avoid the simple mistakes that could completely derail your dream.
Let me ask you a blunt question. Are you thinking, maybe I can use one of these small towns to get my PR, and then, as soon as I land, I'll just pack my bags and move to Toronto or Vancouver? Be honest.
Don't do it. Seriously, this is the absolute #1 reason people get rejected by the communities. They are looking for people who will stay and contribute, not people who are just using them as a stepping stone. They are smart, they will check, and if they get even a hint that you plan to leave, they will deny your recommendation. Your intention to live there has to be real. Okay, pitfall #2, and it's back to that language test. Let's say you're an amazing speaker. You totally ace that part and get a high score, like an NCLC 7. But maybe your writing is a little weaker and you only get a 4. You might think, well, the high score should balance out the low one, right? Is that okay?
The answer is a hard no. Absolutely not. There is no averaging scores here. The rule is crystal clear. NCLC 5 is the minimum, and you have to hit that score in every single category: speaking, listening, reading, and writing. If even one of your scores dips below that line, your entire application is dead in the water. And just a quick final reminder, a little public service announcement. Yes, this is a Francophone immigration program, but it is exclusively for communities outside of Quebec. It seems a little strange, I know, but that's the rule. If your dream is to live in Montreal or Quebec City, you need to look at Quebec's own, totally separate immigration program.
So, when you boil it all down, it really comes to this. The FCIP offers a trade-off. You can fight it out in the massive, anonymous pools for a spot in the big city, or you can take this other path, a path where a smaller community is literally waiting to welcome you, by name, with open arms. It really makes you think, doesn't it? Could joining one of these smaller communities actually be your key to a much bigger future in Canada?